Hello, and welcome to my Fire Emblem 15 ETC playthrough. I'm USS Gordon Captain, here with,
1776.
and this is the second part of Act 2 of Celica's route. So, we got 3 new units. Valbar, who is quite good. He's going to be doing quite a few small things over the course of this game. He's never going to be amazing, but he's going to have his moments, and overall, will be quite nice at doing certain things. We'll get Leon, the best unit in Fire Emblem 15. He's going to be super dominant. However, right now, he's actually quite bad. He's probably the fifth best unit in our army and isn't going to be very good until later, where he gets handed his own personal weapon of death. And then we get Kamui. Juan, will take it away with Kamui.
The best thing about Kamui is that the fact that he gives a deployment slot, because everything else about him is quite terrible. He's mercenary. He's under leveled. On top of that, he really doesn't get to do anything, even if he try, because you got so many better units to use, and then all the EXP is going to them. So when you try to integrate Kamui into your strategy, he's just going to steal EXP. That would rather be invested on someone better.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Now on to the reason we got Celica Swap. We need Celica to use Swap, so in this particular map, the May would reach the counter 1 turn earlier, and so she could use Fire on him. May needed to reach 10 speed by this map, which is the reason we rigged her speed in 2 maps ago in the second pirate raid. It's so that on this map she would be more likely to reach 10 speed, which means that she could double the counter.
Yeah, and here's we see once again the both maps working against us. All of these 4 move units cannot go any further, and it looks like a J upside down.
Yes. However, we do in fact manage to break through. One of the most important parts about this boat map is in this position we need to get May to get as close to the counter as possible so that she can use fire. And then we're going to need to position our other units around the Cantor such that they'll be able to hit him later. It's not so much doing the damage to the Cantor that matters for the other units, it's more that they attack the Cantor such that the Cantor will use miasma to damage himself.
Yeah, this Cantor is one of the toughest bosses in this game. He is pretty bulky, a lot of HP, plenty of defense. He can heal himself, and he hits pretty hard. And nobody except May has good hit rates against him, but we gotta use everybody we got in order to take him down.
Yes. Here I reposition May so that I'll have a better position in case he summons. But he doesn't summon because enemies won't do the same thing twice if they have 2 different options on a turn wheel.
So this is the best thing Kamui ever is going to do. Hitting this boss in order to chip him down, because even though he hits pretty hard, it comes with the weakness that he hits himself, and that allows May to be able to one round him later.
Now the next goal is to set up a swap for Valbar. Valbar needs to learn swap before Beaufort, and just so happens that some of the enemies on this boat are the exact right type of enemy for Valbar to swap up on. Now, if Valbar fails to learn swap, that's okay. There's a couple more places for him to get swap EXP, so it's not like it's that tight, but it is kind of nice to just keep going. And finally, May gets the kill. And that's Cantor boat cleared in 4 turns. Bowie would have struggled a little bit more with that map, but not much more. Since if with Bowie you have access to unpromoted May, who gets to use Thunder, which is a very good spell against the Cantor.
Yeah, it's better than rely on Kamui and Saber to hitting sub 50 hit rates.
So the next map we're going to be going on to is the famous map Merc Boat. We call it Merc Boat because at this point you can start splitting the maps across. There is the Decker Dragons that you don't want to fight at this point. Instead, you want to go north and fight the mercenaries and brigands and archers. This map is the one map where May really, really sucks compared to Bowie. May doesn't have good defense, and so we rely instead on Valbar.
Yeah, unlike most of our units that get wrecked by the mercenaries, Valbar got that defense. He takes 1 damage because of the mechanic in this game that if a unit were to do 0 damage, they will do 1 instead. That really shows how bulky Valbar is. He doesn't care about these enemies.
Yes. The other important mechanic is that on the first turn of the map, the enemies won't have heal AI because there's one heal tile that's being covered by us, and the other heal tile is being covered by the boss, so that archer there will just attack Leon again. Here, May actually can withstand a couple of rounds of combat against some of the enemies. Unfortunately, if you swap her forward and have her go to the very front of the map, she would just get overwhelmed and die.
Yeah, it's pretty unfortunate that one of our best units hits herself. And here we see that once again the boat maps are working against us, but thankfully we have enough units to get through this wall of guys.
Yes, the boat maps in some sense work against the player because they decrease the amount of combat you can do in one against one choke point. But since choke points exist, one thing you can do is just block the choke point with a bulky unit like Valbar or Saber, and your other more frail magic users, which represent most of your army actually, are going to be able to hit the large number of brigands just at a range.
Yeah, this is the map where Valor really gets to shine. It cannot be understated how much he does. But in this case, Leon is also a highlight of this map because enemy archers prefer to attack other archers, even though he had May in range and she will be an easy target. But thankfully, the archer works in our favor. It also gives Leon a bit more EXP.
The reason I was able to get the archer to work in our favor there was because I kept the leather shield on on May, and so Leon was able to be the lowest defense target for the archer, so the archer would go after Leon instead of going after May. Now, the other key in this map is to go kill the mercenaries in a specific order, such that the mercenaries do not activate retreat AI. In order to avoid activating retreat AI, what I'm going to do is have Valbar attack one of the mercenaries on this single point, and have Celica attack a different one with her fire spell. So that way, both of them are above half HP, and so neither of them activates retreat AI.
Yeah, this is really helpful because nobody's realistically killing these guys except May, but she can only do it on player phase, and we need as much help as we can get.
So here it's just mop up time. The most important thing to consider is EXP distribution. There are 3 units that are really good units to give EXP to. Those are May, Leon, and Jenny. And so I just run away with Celica and try to give this kill to Jenny. If it missed, I had a turn wheel. If it missed again, I could have reordered my combats until I get the kill I want.
Yeah, so that's Merc Boat in 4 turns.
Yes. 4 turns. And now it's time for Arc Boat. Arc Boat is a map which has a lot of arcanists. Surprise, surprise. Now, Arcanists are magic using enemies that we saw one of in Desae's Fortress, but now we're going to see a lot more of them. Two of the Arcanists on this map have the spell Mire. Now, Mire is an extremely damaging spell. It has 10 might, but it leaves the enemy at low speed, if not 0 speed, because it has 6 weight. It has 6 weight. So most Arcanists, in fact, both of the Arcanists on this map have 0 AS if they have Mire. But the other Arcanists have Miasma, which has 3 might and 3 weight, so they have 1 or 2 AS. And so some of our units won't be able to double those.
Yeah, the advantage that Mire gives the enemies is that they can gang up on one of your units and kill them in 2 hits. As pretty much nobody we have has pretty good resistance except May, and May hits herself. And she got an unnecessary crit there, but it's fine.
Jenny can do some tanking because she has 11 res, which is the highest we have. May at 10 is our highest, but we're not going to care about that because instead we're going to do a strat we call Kamui Kamikaze, where Kamui just is going to run straight forward and let himself be offered up to the slaughter.
Yeah, May's holding herself together pretty well over here. And Jenny is pretty much unscathed, but she doesn't do any damage.
So here the goal is to set it up such that Kamui will be able to kill the Arcanist. The best way to kill the Arcanist with Kamui to set up to kill would have been for Kamui to get healed, but if Kamui got healed, he would actually be in a different location that's kind of dangerous. So I need to move Jenny up. And so the best strategy for that is to just let Kamui die. If he dies, he dies.
Yeah, it's not like he was going to do anything productive regardless. I think this is the last map Kamui does anything.
There's a couple more maps where he might be able to do a couple of things, but this is pretty much his last map contribution. He does contribute a little bit in Seabound Shrine by having a deployment slot. But there are ways around his deployment slot limitations. So it's not really a big deal.
Yeah. And here is something that you won't see every day. May is going to offer herself as a wall in order to protect Leon from these enemies that can kill him.
Yes. May has 10 res, Leon has 2 res. So Leon's is going to get eaten alive by these enemies.
Yeah, but thankfully the AI prefers to heal their friends instead of attacking. And May would have survived regardless.
Now May gets to kill this Mire Arcanist. Unfortunately, she couldn't do it in style with double aura, but she gets to kill it or him regardless with just normal spells.
Yeah, and that's considering this May has less attack than you would expect.
Yeah. So now we need to set up a kill for Jenny. The reason we want to set up kills for Jenny is because anytime Jenny can get kills is a good idea, since Jenny has the worst offense of any unit in my party. And Jenny needs to get to level 8 for Physic, which is very, very critical.
Yeah. Thankfully, she gets a crit here, which means she doesn't need to 60% hits. You could have moved Bowie upwards, so she would get +5 hit rate, but it didn't matter in the end.
Yeah, I didn't do that because of turn wheel manipulation. It would have let me turn wheel, move Bowie up, and then attack, because that would have changed the outcome RN sequence.
Yeah, but it's something to consider. So finally, we get to Sophia Castle, and this map is pretty unique because they take away all of your units except Saver, which
Yes.
is just wonderful.
Saber. Why? They didn't.
Imagine taking a sword lock unit against a map that has only 1-2 range enemies.
So the main advantage and main thing that we need to consider in terms of stats is that Celica needed to get to 11 strength so she could so that she could set up the kill for Saber there. Now, I could have given Celica a uh, strength will from Deliverance hideout in order to get her the strength. However, she didn't need it since she just proc strength 3 times. She does that 21.6% of the time, so it's not all that unreasonable. But normally I was expecting her to need a strength well.
Yeah, one thing to consider is that we have an extra unit in this map. His name is NPC Conrad. I mean, he's like Saber, except that he acts on his own behalf. Who has it hard here is Celica. She either has to get a crit on this guy or dodge at 75% hit. And she thankfully gets both, which I would say is pretty lucky. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes. However, I'll take any luck you can get in this godforsaken game.
Yeah. I mean, this is the game that forces you to use a sword lock unit against magic enemies. I guess the advantage is that these guys hit themselves while attacking Saber, so it makes it easier for him to kill them even if he has screwed attack.
Yes. So that was the map cleared in 4 turns, Sophia Castle. And I'll see you guys next time for Seabound Shrine and a bunch of Metal Gear Emblem. Bye.
Bye.